So we definitely saw some wild swings today, but check out XRP just chilling above $3 while I'm making this video. Totally unfazed. This is exactly the kind of action those of us in the XRP community have been dreaming about for years. And honestly, seeing it hold steady at this level gets me pumped because we're not even at the final explosive run up yet. You know how XRP typically does two big pumps each cycle? Well, history shows us that second pump always crushes the first one in terms of actual dollar gains. The best part, we're not even close to being done. I've got insights from 10 different XRP chart analysts coming up in this video, and one of them is calling for $10.47 in the short term. Now, if you're newer to crypto, you might be thinking short-term $10.47, that's going to take forever. Hold up. Not necessarily. I'm not making any price calls myself, but that kind of explosive movement happening super fast, yeah, that's totally XRP's style. Remember back in 2017 into early 2018 when XRP had its biggest run before this cycle? It rocketed from around 20 cents all the way to $3.35 in just over 2 weeks. So yeah, it really can move way faster than people expect. And here's the thing, before that 2017 run, XRP had never been anywhere near those prices. So there was zero precedent for it. Don't let that fool you into thinking it can't happen again. Honestly, these crazy explosive moves are pretty much par for the course in crypto, and XRP has already proven it's one of those coins that can pull off these absolutely insane runs. I wouldn't even be shocked at this point. Look, I have no clue where it's going to top out, but what I can tell you is that historically, when XRP decides to go somewhere, it gets there lightning fast. Quick disclaimer before we dive deeper though. I don't have any financial background whatsoever. I'm not giving financial advice, and you definitely shouldn't make any buying or selling decisions based on anything I'm saying here. Right now, as I'm recording this, XRP is sitting at $3.08. We did see the market pull back earlier. XRP dipped down to $3.01 at its lowest. Bitcoin's at $117,306 with a 24-hour low just under 117K. So yeah, we're down from that crazy all-time high we hit a couple days back when Bitcoin briefly touched above 124K, but I'm still feeling like our best days are ahead of us. Now, obviously, the real fireworks are going to happen with XRP and the other altcoins, but Bitcoin's got to lead the charge first. And honestly, I'm totally fine with that. It's just how things have always worked. So there's something reassuring about seeing that same pattern play out again. History doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme, you know? Here's what chart analyst Jelly dropped this morning. Bitcoin's doing great after that whole PPI panic yesterday. Remember all that inflation drama? Price stuck to its support like glue. That CME gap is 75% filled, and we're cruising back above the 4-hour 50 EMA. He's watching 120K as the magic number that needs to become support, and once we nail that down, we're off to the races with pure price discovery. The optimism is still totally alive for Bitcoin's final rocket ship moment, and you know what that means. Altcoins are about to lose their minds. Chart analyst Mustache is all over this theory. Check out this total 2 chart on your screen. That's crypto's total market cap without Bitcoin. Mustache is saying we're this close to one of those epic god candles we haven't witnessed in years. He's been screaming about this forever, and when you see what he's got highlighted here, it all clicks. History just keeps playing the same tune with different words. And honestly, we're not even close to wrapping up this cycle. The most insane, fun part is still waiting for us. That final euphoric explosion that shows up every single cycle, yeah, that's still coming, folks. Human nature didn't just flip a switch overnight. People are still going to do their thing. Take Bitcoin profits, move them to Ethereum, then shuffle into big names like XRP, then spread into mid and small caps. It's not like everyone suddenly stopped wanting to make money. They're going to follow the same playbook they always have. Thinking there's been some massive shift in human behavior? That's just not realistic, folks. Thoughtful. Check this out. Blockchain Backer posted something on August 13th that's pretty interesting. He was pointing out how the Russell 2000, that's small cap stocks, was breaking through some key Fibonacci levels. And everything we've seen since then backs up what he was saying. He actually reposted that same chart this morning and added that yesterday's liquidation was just a backtest. His point? Annoyed, this isn't something to freak out about. In his latest video, he spent a good chunk of time explaining how everything's actually still looking pretty solid. When you zoom out and look at this stuff alongside a bunch of other assets and key metrics, getting all panicky just doesn't really make sense right now. That's just the reality of it. All right, so altcoin Vector just threw this curveball at us. He's eyeballing Bitcoin dominance versus ETH BTC and basically goes, excited, Ethereum's about to hit new highs, folks. Here's the wild part. Ethereum's rotation is absolutely steamrolling everything right now. Bitcoin dominance just face-planted 10% since July, while ETH BTC went completely nuts with a 110% surge since April. This guy's saying it's the most dominant ETH performance we've seen since 2021. His verdict? Alt season has officially landed. I've probably seen 3 or 4 different analysts drop this same bomb recently, and sure, you'll find other brilliant minds ready to duke it out over whether that's actually true. But let's be real, there's no alt season official review board stamping approval on this stuff. It's all opinion anyway. What cracks me up is watching people battle over whether alt season is here when they're literally using completely different playbooks for what alt season even looks like. Are we there? Almost there? Whatever. The train's clearly rolling in the right direction. This has me absolutely fired up. Just watch how Ethereum went beast mode against Bitcoin right as the market hit rock bottom. I mean, it was pretty clear to me that ETH had smacked into local lows because markets always find their floor eventually. But man, how many people were writing Ethereum's obituary just because the price sucked? Now it's launching into orbit, which is classic alt season kickoff material. If you're playing in crypto and you're not buzzing right now, I honestly don't get it. Being nervous makes 0 sense. Not getting hyped makes 0 sense. This is primetime excitement territory, people. It's happening. If history keeps playing its greatest hits, and let's face it, it usually does, we're about to witness alt season go absolutely bananas. XRP included, and XRP's got this beautiful habit of pulling its most jaw-dropping stunts right when Bitcoin's making that final victory lap, which is literally what's sitting right in front of our faces. I mean, come on. It's practically spelled out in neon lights. So, Crypto Wizard dropped this post with a sneaky BTC chart. Didn't dive deep into it, but basically he's calling new all-time highs. And honestly, everyone seems to be on the same page here. It just makes sense, right? Like, why would this time be any different? The fundamentals haven't exactly flipped to doom and gloom. Sure, you could make a case that things look sketchy, but come on. The fundamentals are what they are. They're not even worse than last cycle. So, yeah, take it however you want, but that's the deal. So Crypto Wizard's talking XRP, and he's basically saying it's locked and loaded for new all-time highs. It's doing this pullback thing after poking around those previous ATH levels, but he's seeing a parabolic rally brewing. His advice? Just chill and watch it unfold. This is literally what every chart analyst I follow is saying. The good ones nailed the XRP breakout call this cycle, so I'm tuning out the analysts who've been whiffing on XRP predictions for years. Those guys have mostly disappeared anyway. Guess they got sick of being wrong all the time. You can barely find anyone disagreeing with this take, but that's probably because all the sharp analysts see how obvious this setup is. They're all betting on XRP going ballistic. This pullback and retest we're watching, standard stuff, nothing to sweat. The trend's crystal clear. We're heading up, up, up. Dolly Martinez just dropped this chart showing XRP hanging out in a triangle pattern. He's saying if it breaks above $3.26, we could see it rocket to $3.90. We're talking another fresh all-time high here, which gets us into that price discovery zone. And honestly, that's leading us straight into the face melting part of this cycle, which is what I'm personally pumped about. This should happen right alongside Bitcoin's final big push. That's just how it always plays out historically. Like I mentioned earlier, it's clockwork. So hang tight and wait for everything to click into place. Things are definitely lining up, but I'm saying wait for that last little piece of the puzzle. That's when XRP is really going to let loose. Crypto Insight UK just posted about XRP, and he's seeing liquidity stacking up above us over the past couple days. His call? Send it straight to $4.34 and fast. Now, he's not saying we're camping out there long-term, but short-term, he's expecting more price discovery action, basically another fresh all-time high for XRP. Crypto Damies is seeing this perfect bullish setup on XRP ascending triangle with a MACD that looks bullish AF, and he's calling new all-time highs soon. Look, I'm never scared to share the bearish takes on my channel. I actually love doing it for balance, you know? I want to show different perspectives because it makes things way more interesting. I'm not just hunting for confirmation bias here. But here's the thing. I literally cannot find the negative voices right now. If you've got some bearish XRP analysis, bring it to me. I promise I'll spotlight it on the channel and give you full credit. They basically don't exist anymore. When I do catch little snippets of negativity here and there, I'm like, ooh, got to talk about this because it's become so rare to find. But doesn't that tell you something? I don't think all these analysts with killer track records just suddenly went brain dead about something this important to all of us. That doesn't add up. Because they don't usually sound like this. When they all start singing the same tune in perfect harmony, that's when you know they're probably nailing it. That's what history keeps teaching me anyway. Dark Defender just posted saying XRP is about to wrap up this ABC correction, and then we're looking at a target of $10.47. He's breaking down all the correction possibilities in detail and mapping out the various targets that lead up to that level, with key support spots along the way. This could happen sooner rather than later, folks. Like I said at the start of this video, I have no clue if this exact target's going to hit. We might come in lower, might go higher. I'm not playing the price prediction game here, but I don't think this target's completely nuts either. What I will say is this: once we start moving, assuming that's a reasonable target, it can happen lightning fast. Now, Dark Defender actually thinks we go even higher than that. Over the past couple years, he's been consistently throwing around numbers closer to $18. And hey, he might be spot on about that too. We'll see. None of this is crazy talk though. It all comes down to how much cash floods into this space. The more money that pours into Bitcoin first, the more it cycles through everything else. Ethereum, XRP, the whole lineup. That's just rotation doing its thing, my friends. XRPunky's sharing the same vibe as Dark Defender here. Looking at this XRP chart, he's pointing out that it's been stuck sideways for 256 days straight. If you've been holding through these past 8.5 months without panic selling and stayed totally cool about it, you absolutely deserve to cash in. He's seeing the next leg up starting soon, targeting $10 to $15. This is just what I keep running into, folks. Trust me, I'd love to share the most bearish take from a solid chart analyst, and I actually do when I find them, but they're just not out there right now. Eventually, though, the good ones are going to surface. When XRP is about to peak, those reputable analysts will start flashing warning signs like, "Hey guys, heads up, we're getting close to the top." And you're going to want to hear that if you've got serious skin in the game and want to bail before everything comes crashing down, which is exactly what happens to every coin when this whole crypto bubble inflates and then pops. You'll want to know that stuff. I'm sure people will be screaming, "No, higher, higher, higher," because that's the soundtrack of every cycle. But when a bunch of talented analysts start warning that things look overheated and we've probably topped or we're about to, I'm going to tell you. I know that won't get as many YouTube views, but that's just how I roll. Credible Crypto just threw up this XRP BTC chart, and he's loving how that PO3 setup unfolded. After smacking into that red local supply zone, we've dropped back to those range lows. His read, pretty decent odds we're cooking up a triple tap or maybe a higher low right here. Then we make another run at those range highs. Since we already poked that local supply on the last go around, he's betting this next attempt breaks through clean and nails those highs. Keep in mind, this is the XRP BTC pair he's eyeballing, not straight XRP USD, but yeah, he's still bullish short term. Here's the thing though, XRP is absolutely nowhere close to being done with its Bitcoin beatdown. It's already made Bitcoin look like yesterday's news. XRP has been smoking Bitcoin performance-wise, and we're not even close to the finale yet. Bitcoin's about to experience some serious humiliation before this circus ends because it's getting ready to be completely wrecked by what those salty Bitcoin maximalists love trash-talking as the banker scam coin. Of course, those guys are just a bunch of tribalistic morons anyway. What can you do? Chart analyst Zoom just weighed in, and he's saying XRP did exactly what he expected. Came back down to poke around the bottom of this range and managed to close the daily right in that zone. He's still seeing the bullish structure intact as long as XRP hangs above that $2.75 area, and he thinks it's super unlikely we close below that level. Like I mentioned earlier, XRP's flexing some serious strength right now, so this idea of it just breaking down, look, if XRP actually tanks down to anywhere near that $2.75 mark, that's not going to be an XRP problem, fundamentals included. That would mean the entire crypto market's having a meltdown from some black swan event or whatever. Could that happen? Sure, you never know what curveballs are coming. I'm not making predictions here. Something like that wouldn't be totally insane. But the idea that XRP is just going to fall apart all by itself, nah, not buying it. I find that pretty hard to swallow. NLC Grade Crypto just dropped some thoughts on Ethereum dominance, and he's seeing some strong signals. Says that retest of the 0.5 fib is still possible, and he thinks Ethereum dominance is going to shoot for that upper target at the 0.888 fib as the max. But here's where it gets spicy. He's got an exciting outlook for XRP. He's confident XRP is going to flip Ethereum dominance and snag 20% market share. Now, I didn't check XRP dominance before hitting record, but I think it's been dancing around 5% lately. So we're talking about jumping from 5 to 20% and flipping Ethereum in both dominance and market cap. That's basically a 4x price pump on XRP. That puts us a hair over $12, around $12.32 to be exact. But here's the kicker. That's 20% at today's market valuation. The whole crypto market cap is sitting just under $3.9 trillion right now. What happens if that doubles? What if we hit something like $7.8 trillion, which tons of analysts think is a slam dunk? Well, if XRP is holding 20% dominance at that point, based on current price, you're looking more like $24.64, somewhere in that ballpark. See how fast you can rocket up there? 20% of a way bigger number equals way more dollars, which is exactly what we want. It's just a matter of time, but that's how you hit those higher double-digit levels that some analysts are calling probable for this cycle. Guess we'll find out together. Steph is Crypto just dropped a bomb. Send XRP to $20 with haste. Well, damn, okay then. Like I keep hammering home, when this beast finally decides to party, it's going to be absolutely wild. Sure, there'll probably be some pit stops along the way if we're really heading that high, but here's the deal. We're in the final stretch of this cycle. If Bitcoin's about to launch into its last parabolic rocket ship, and XRP is really going to do its thing, you're literally going to roll out of bed one morning and XRP will be absolutely nuking faces off. Those days are pure magic because they're rare as hell. Most of the time, XRP or whatever else you're holding, it's just boring, sideways garbage, painful red candles, or maybe some snail pace climbing. But when you hit those explosive rip your face off days, man, just soak it up. I sure as hell do. We're probably about to get served a big helping of those days, since we're in that sweet spot at cycle's end. This fireworks show only comes around every few years, so get hyped, don't get spooked. To the moon, my friends. To the freaking moon. Disclaimer time. I'm not your financial advisor, and you'd have to be completely nuts to buy or sell anything based on my rambling. Seriously, terrible idea.